Hi guys! So, today we are talking about that magical, mythical unicorn, the perfect parent, aka something that doesn't exist. Why am I talking about this? Well, I'm going to try and make it quick, but it is a real passion for me. I'm going to tell you a story. Are we all sitting comfortably? I got pregnant with my first son when I was 22 years old. I was 18 months out of a nervous breakdown, a really serious one, and I was really struggling to re-establish myself as an adult, as an independent adult, and as a mentally healthy independent adult. It was a really, really challenging time for me, so a pregnancy was not ideal. However, from the minute I knew I was pregnant, I knew I wanted my son. I also knew I was going to be single, and I was for the first couple of years. It was a really, really difficult time, but it was never a question for me that I would have my son. Now, when I was about 4 months pregnant, I was sat down by a colleague, not on the team I worked with, on another team, who felt that he needed to tell me that I wasn't fit to be a parent and I should have an abortion. Nowadays, I would rip that man's face off, let's be honest. But in those days, there was a part of me that went, he's probably right. I'm a bit of a fuck up. Fair enough. And I left it. When my son was born, I'd never even held a baby. I'd certainly never gotten one dressed or fed one. I had no idea how to be a parent. But I loved him the minute he turned up, and I was determined I was going to do it right. So I read all the books, like we do, especially with first children, right? And I had all these ideas about what parenting was going to be like, which we all do. And I broke all of them within the first 6 months. But I was determined that I wasn't going to give that man or any other man an opportunity, or woman, to say that I was anything less than perfect and doing a really good job. And my son hit 1. And in that year, I'd had challenges. I was by myself. I was working full time. I went back to university at night school 2 nights a week. And I started to learn about how hard it is to convince other people you are a perfect parent. My son started to show challenging behaviours. I had that voice in my head and my own insecurity as a human. And I thought, I'm clearly doing it wrong. So I started reading more and going to classes. When I struggled with him and his behaviour, when I struggled to tell him or do things in the right way, I didn't get much support from other women. In fact, the childminder I had at the time informed me that I clearly did not care about him because I went to work all of the time and that was my priority, not him. I was, in fact, a single parent at the time, working full-time to keep a roof over our heads. And when I had to take 2 weeks off work unpaid, it meant we didn't have gas for 3 weeks in winter. Thanks for that judgment. I haven't let that one go either very easily. But that's what people do. They judge us not knowing the secrets behind the story. Fast forward 15 years. My son was diagnosed ADHD at 6 and ASD 2 years ago. He has stuff going on. But throughout that time, there have been pockets of time where, when things go wrong, that voice in my head goes, it's because you're not good enough, because you're failing him. Not because there's a condition or anything else, because I've worked too many hours, because I've tried too hard. When he was 6, I was the parent who would walk across the playground with a hood up because I just didn't know how to deal with his behaviour, and I apologised constantly to other parents. The fact was, there was nothing I could do about his behaviour. He was in a really difficult environment and he needed a different type of support. But I took it on me. Over the years, he got better. He did really well. And then that was about him. And we do that. As parents, we do that. When they're bad, when they do things difficult, when it's challenging, it's our fault. When they do it right, they're amazing and they've done brilliantly. We never quite take that moment to go, oh my gosh, I've done a really good job here. I am exactly the same. He's now 15 and doing really well. But he still has his moments, culminating this weekend in a monumental meltdown. He's had a really hard time. It's been a really hard year and a really hard few months, and it exploded. And I did not handle it like a perfect parent at all. I'd been all right for weeks, but my mental calluses were worn down to the point where I couldn't do it anymore. And in the end, I went, and when I went, so did everything else. I had to leave the house, go speak to some friends, Very fortunately, I know when things get like that to reach out to somebody else, because I've had too many years of having the I'm a failure, this is my fault, how am I going to deal with it message in my own head. And I've learned that actually sharing that with other people is really powerful. So I did that. But I'd be lying if I didn't tell you, even with all of my training, all of my years of experience, all of the books, all of the challenges, all of the self-development work, I didn't sit yesterday afternoon and think, sometimes I wonder if I shouldn't have been a parent because I'm not very good at it. That voice is why I do my job. It's why my blog and my feed and everything else is called Honestly Life. In my head, that goes, Honestly Life. And that's what this video is about. It's about me saying to you, having worked with thousands actually of families over the years now, and knowing in myself, no matter how hard it is, there is no perfect parent. There are imperfect humans doing the best they can with the knowledge that they have for other imperfect humans. Children test us. Teenagers are meant to be knobs. One of the powerful things we can do when things are really, really difficult is reach out for help. But if we're so caught up in that I've got to be perfect thing, and we're judging other parents when they're getting it wrong, it's almost impossible for us to do that. So one of the things I always say to the parents that I work with, and that I really want you guys to hear right now, is if you need to bring a third party in to help you, do it. Do you remember being a teenager yourself? I didn't listen to my mum and dad. I thought they were idiots who were there to curtail my freedom, ruin my fun and judge everything I did. They certainly weren't humans with feelings of their own. I wouldn't have told them anything, even though they were more than willing to listen to me, because I thought they were stupid. However, I did have another woman who was a personal mentor for me, who helped me and saved me from myself more than one time and gave me the foundations of an awful lot of who I am. Bringing a third party in is not a mark of failure on you. In fact, if you've got all that going on and you're feeling all of that strain and all of that pressure and you're really ashamed and you're doing that, I'm not a perfect parent, I can't do this, I don't know how to cope with it, and you're really scared of what other people are going to say about it, having enough in you to, despite that, go, but I'm still going to bring someone in to do the right thing for my kid, in my book, makes you a fucking rock star. Because that is love. Love is not perfect. It is generous. Not the same thing. We can break this down into a couple of situations. One of the most common thing that I hear from people who tell me, absolutely convinced that they are bad parenting. I work too many hours. All right, okay. Why are you at work so much? I want to give my kids a really good life. Hail Satan, off you fuck, back to hell. That's not a bad thing. Yeah, but I probably do more than I need to, Kirsty. Okay, why? I feel overwhelmed at home. My kids don't really listen to me. I don't always know what to do. I don't make everything happy at work. It's just karma. Everybody listens to what I say and I know who I am. Okay, so you feel overwhelmed and you know where you are at work and it makes you feel like you're in control of things. Still hail Satan, off you go, back to hell. I'm not going to say that. It's human. Parenting is hard. Looking for somewhere that you know where you are is normal. There are so many situations like that where we beat ourselves up and go, I'm not giving my kid enough of this. I'm not doing enough of that. Almost every parent I know goes, I screwed that up. But what makes it hard is when that parent doesn't tell other people that. They just internalize it. There's two reasons that that's really, really difficult. And I really want everyone who watches my videos, who works with me, who ever attends a course with me, ever to get this, because it's so critical. One, if you're not a perfect parent and you're saying, I'm not a perfect parent and I'm getting this wrong, you're also saying, my kid's not perfect, they're damaged, and it's my fault. That's not a great message for either of you to start to improve things from. I've got to tell you, to be honest. Instead, look at, we're in a really difficult position. What do we need to get out of it? It's not personal, it's life. That's how it works. And number two, when you internalize that message of perfection and a need to be nothing but flawless in public, we make it impossible for everybody else to be anything less than perfect too. all of your friends, your family, your social networks, they all see a perfect person. They can't help you unless you allow them to, and then they judge their own lives against it. And they might be going through the same stuff or different stuff or worse stuff or less worse stuff than you. The most powerful session I've ever done in the last 6.5 years of doing this, I always get the time wrong, last 6.5 years of doing this, the most powerful session I've ever done was about 2 months ago. I went completely off-piste in a session. Welcome to the ADHD brain. I had a group of women in the room, and these women were all different types of women from all different backgrounds, completely massively diverse. No commonality in their lifestyles. The commonality was in every single one of those women was there because they were struggling with their lives and their children. And all of them started out with, well, you know, I've tried this and I've tried this. I just don't know how to make it work. Ha, ha, ha. And then I went, oh, wouldn't it be better if we could all just be really honest about how hard being a parent is, about how shit it is, about how it's not a Hollywood myth of holding hands and good night, John boy. Actually, it's a grind, and sometimes it's boring, and sometimes it's fury making, and sometimes it makes you feel like you are less than the shit on someone's shoe. And sometimes you're going to wonder whether you were right to be a parent, just like I do. And that room went silent. And then it erupted in all the honest stories of when these mums had fucked up, in their view. When they felt less, when they found it hard. And those women talked for 2 hours about that. And they laughed, and some of them got tearful, and it's the most powerful session I've ever been in. What was different about that session? It was a safe space, and a group of women suddenly put down the weight of perfection to be really honest and vulnerable about how hard this is. Guys, I can't make you a perfect parent. I can't make myself a perfect parent. I can't make your kids perfect. You can't make your kids perfect. No one's ever going to solve all the stuff in your lives because humans can't be solved. We are gloriously, magnificently, infuriatingly shit at life, regardless of how long we've been here for. And we're all just muddling along, trying to do the best we can. And that's all right. So if you're sitting there right now, or you have done in the last year, or you're going to tomorrow, thinking, I'm just not very good at this. I'm not perfect. I should be trying harder. Stop it. Stop it. You are the best that you can be in the situation that you are with the information that you've got. And that is more than enough. And failing that, let's all remember, if there's any luck in the world, soon, one day, those children will fuck off and live somewhere else, and we can all vanish to somewhere hot and fabulous with a cocktail instead. That's what's getting me through. Anyway, I'll see you soon, guys. Take care.